what they think. Coach, and we'll take questions. Coach?
Yeah, I mean, just really proud of my team tonight. That was a huge win for us coming off the West Coast trip, where I thought we played pretty well last week, and able to get the split and playing a hungry team tonight. You know, that in a lot of respects, they remind me a lot of what we've been. If you look at a lot of their scores, I mean, I think their Michigan State game was overtime. I think they had a 3 in the air that could have beat Michigan at the buzzer. They played really well at Mackey against Purdue. The other night, you know, it was a 1-point game against Ohio State late in the game. So they're a very young team like we are. We're both playing a lot of young guys, and I knew both teams were going to be really hungry for a win. I thought both teams really struggled to guard the other team for a big stretch of the game, and I just kept telling my team that whichever team was going to start getting a few stops was going to win. You know, both teams had a lot of comfort offensively. They were driving us, getting to the basket. They were able to get downhill a lot. I thought we had great, you know, execution, and I mean, 30 assists on 38 field goals is incredible. But I thought the last 12 minutes we finally got some stops. You know, we were able to keep them out of our paint. We forced some jump shots. The rebounding was huge. I mean, Trey Singleton was phenomenal. Our 2 freshmen, really. Jake West, plus 34 in the game, was 7 points and 13 assists and only 1 turnover. Big-time performance for a young player in this league. And then, you know, I was just really happy for Trey. You know, he's been putting a lot of pressure on himself, you know, because he knows, you know, that you know, he's capable of doing things like tonight. You know, you're not going to get 17 and 18 every game, but he's capable of having that similar impact with his activity, with his playmaking, with his physicality. And it was just fun to see him play with joy and be attacking and not play tentative out there. And I just thought all the guys, Angelo, you know, I mean, we can talk about Nick he's amazing, but, you know, I thought Angelo, Jake, and Trey, you know, their ability to give us that production to help Nick was a huge key to the game.
Coach, how does a game like tonight just speak to the maturation of Trey and Jake as they continue to settle on the big time?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot as freshmen. You know, it's interesting. I even brought up, you know, Coach BMOC, who's over there, who does a lot with Jake. You know, he and Jake have a great relationship, and he works with Jake a lot, you know, and rightfully so, being such a great point guard. But, you know, BMAC's freshman year, you know, I reminded our guys, you know, with Vic Law and Scotty Lindsey and Gavin Skelly, I believe we were 1-10, and we had lost a lot of heartbreaking games, you know, playing teams to the last 4 minutes and just not really being ready to win. But the vibe stayed good. You know, like we continue to practice hard. We continue to have great attitudes. We continue to have a good vibe. And then we ended up winning 5 of our last 7 because those young guys kind of came of age and they found a way to win one game and they got some confidence and they finished the season really strong. So, you know, when you look out there tonight and you see that we're starting 3 true freshmen and a sophomore, you know, that's a young team. So anytime they can have some confidence, and I'm really proud of Nick, the way he's leading those young kids. You know, I mean, God, I mean, he's, as an older guy, as a senior, to be able to lead the way he does by example with his voice, with his fight. You know, he played like an All-American tonight. He was so good.
I mean, there are a variety of great stats for you know, that group of Trey, Jake, and
Angelo.
Angelo, yeah, thank you. You know, this is also against a team that in Penn State that's kind of struggling a little bit. What do you see in their games that makes you think that this is, like you said, in that 5 out of 7 stretch, that this is sustainable the rest of the season?
Well, I think now you've seen 3 games in a row, you know, where we've played pretty well. You know, you go on the road to USC and win, you know, last week this time, you know, against a really good team. I mean, USC went and won at Wisconsin. They lose at the buzzer last night at Iowa. Like, USC's a really talented team. We got the win there. Thought we played really well. Thought we mounted a really good comeback against UCLA and did a lot of good things against a team that's really hot right now on the road. And then you come home and you take care of business. You know, not only do you win a game, you win a game by 21 points. I mean, so this is a Big Ten basketball team. Yeah, they've had their struggles and they haven't won a game, but, you know, you look at how they've played against most of the teams in the league. They've been very competitive. They're just young like we are. And we knew this was going to be a game tonight, 2 young teams that are trying to find wins and trying to find confidence. So, you know, the vibe is good right now. You know, for a while, I didn't think the vibe was great. We had a lot of guys trying to find themselves. We were trying to figure things out, how we could play. guys were, different lineups, things of that nature. And we got together before we went to California after that Nebraska game. We said, we got 12 games, 13 games, whatever it is. And, we're going to come every day. We're going to have positive mindset. We're going to have good vibes. We're going to push each other. We're going to compete hard, but there's going to be positive body language. We're going to help each other in good and bad. And I've just felt that. I felt better, regardless of wins, losses. I've just felt better about the way we played and the way we've approached ourselves heading into these games.
Really productive from behind the arc tonight.
Yeah.
Doubling
Thank you.
Doubling your season average.
Yeah.
In terms of,
Don't remind
what
me.
do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I just think some of the guys that, I've been saying for a while, shooting is interesting. You got to be real careful as a coach harping on it too much, because it's kind of like, I'm a golfer. It's kind of like you talk about, putting or chipping. If you get in a guy's head about something, then you're completely mind screwed, going forward. And with shooting, it's kind of similar. You just got to make sure guys are practicing the right things, getting the right shots, getting the game shots at game speed, game intensity, and tell them to just keep being aggressive. And, I always tell guys that I believe can shoot, like, guys, the law of averages are always going to work themselves out. If you go into a little bit of a rut and you're not shooting well, all that means is you're going to get really hot. Because at the end of the day, you're going to kind of find your level of what you're shooting. And I think you're seeing some guys, Jordan Clayton, that's 2 games in a row. He had 3 threes against UCLA, 2 big threes tonight. Angelo hit a couple big threes. Max is shooting the ball better. Jake West, hit a big 3. Trey has had his struggles, but I've continued to encourage him when he's open to shoot the ball with confidence. So, hopefully it's like anything. When you're struggling, sometimes you can get into a rut and get negative thoughts. When you start making shots, it can go the other way. So hopefully we can keep the positive confidence going forward with our shooting.
Coach Taylor Babbitt back here today, this time on the opposing sideline. Just tell me what it was like seeing him again here today.
Yeah, I love Taylor. He knows that. His family, they are a part of my family for life. What him and Boo and his wife Gretchen and their girls, like the time he gave us here. He's the ultimate competitor, man. He's my kind of guy, and we've always really. We've really had a good vibe since day one, because we're wired the same way. We're competitive, tough guys that, see the game a certain way and expect it to be played a certain way. And I tell you what, man, that guy, I would go in a foxhole with him any day of the week. So it was special to see him. I hate seeing him on the other side. I like when he's on my team. But man, I love Taylor and his family, and it was good to see him and give him a big hug.
You out-rebounded Penn State by a good margin tonight, even with a kind of smaller lineup for most of the game. And it's kind of something your teams have been known for, getting guys who aren't the biggest to crash the boards really well. And it kind of felt like that had been going away earlier this year.
Yeah.
How did it feel like? What does it mean to kind of get that rebounding back from guys who aren't the biggest?
Yeah, I just, to your point, I felt like for a big chunk of the start of the season, even in games we had won, I didn't feel as if we were playing like the standard of our program with the stuff you're talking about, loose balls, rebounds in traffic, gritty, tough-minded plays. And it was frustrating to me, disappointing, because at the end of the day, I'm the one responsible, for bringing that out in the players. And, to see the last couple games, and especially tonight, to see that kind of grit, I thought we came up with a lot of loose balls in the paint tonight, that we hadn't been getting. It's almost like the other team was getting them, and and that's all it takes sometimes to lose a game. So, I'm hoping these guys are getting confident and understanding that it's fun when you play that way, when you stick your nose in there and you get physical, and even though you might be undersized, at times, and I thought there was a lot of grit. Even a guy like Jake West, man, he's a tough guy. Don't let the baby face looks fool you, man. That kid's tough. He fights, he battles, he'll throw his body around. He's a tough-minded competitor, and we're starting to see that out of the whole team, which is nice.
Coach Rhodes said that Angelo big boyed them a couple times around the rim really impressed by his and Trey's finishing around the basket.
Yeah.
Even with contact, not a lot of fouls called today. What are ways you teach that and have seen that grow in them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Angelo is just really tried to encourage him to always play to his strengths. I mean, he's an elite athlete, as you can see, and he has the ability to be rugged and tough. It's one of the things I've loved about him is, just when he's in that mindset as a player. And it doesn't mean like and when you're doing that, then the three comes, and he made a couple threes. But, his ability to get on the glass, his ability to get out in the open floor and play in transition. I thought his first basket was huge. He got a big offensive rebound in traffic, kind of drop step, went up, dunked the ball. That's what we need. We're searching for him to kind of bring that. And it doesn't mean he's going to get 20 every night, but we need that out of him. We need that activity. We need that aggressiveness. We need that kind of gritty, tough-minded wing play. And I was really happy for him tonight because he had a stretch of games we hadn't played as well. And I thought he kind of got back, and it was fun to see him put kind of this game together tonight.
Coach, as you mentioned for Jake West, 13 assists to 1 turnover. As a first-year guard in the Big Ten to do that, what does that just say about his poise and maturity at this young age?
Yeah, he's getting better, man. He's tough, like I said. I mean, everyone looks at all the TikToks and all that stuff, and I make fun of him too. But that's not who that guy is, man. He does it because of what comes with it, I guess. But I still haven't figured it out. That's a whole nother conversation. But he is a tough-minded competitor, and he's in the gym, and the more he's played, the better he's gotten. We had high hopes for him coming in, and what he's done kind of emerged now to be our starting point guard and have the ball in his hands. Thought he made some huge, really good decisions late in the game too, when it was in the game was still in the balance. I thought he took care of the ball and made some great passes, and just fun. It's fun as a coach. We don't see this a lot, right? Because we're in a day and age now of just a bunch of transfers, and you go out and sign a kid and pay him a bunch of money, and you come in and coach them, and it's fun to have some young guys and still get that semblance of development and watch guys grow in front of your eyes and go through tough times, right? Get your nose rubbed in it a little bit. You get up off the mat, you fight back, and you get better, and that's what's happening with him and Trey specifically. All right, thank you guys. See you Saturday.
All right, we have Trey and Angelo here. I'm going to frame the question for both these guys. Jake?
This for the one of you, but how do you feel like tonight just built on what you guys sort of started to fortify from an energy standpoint in California?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch, you could tell our energy out there was a lot different. We've been doing things to try to get our team chemistry better. The coaches have been on us about being off our phones, talking to each other more, and doing stuff like that has just really helped us throughout the way, and we're kind of meshing a little more now and playing well together and playing harder for each other, playing harder for our coaches, playing harder for Northwestern. So I feel like little stuff we've been doing has just been trickling over, and you can just see improvements every game, especially out there.
Yeah. Trey, big night defensively for you. What would have been the points of emphasis in practice recently that allowed you to go out there and have such a night?
One of the main things we've been practicing, obviously, is defense. You got to get stops to win games. So I just went out there tonight and tried to have my brothers back and, just having to have a good night.
Trey, I think heading into this season, talking with you and Nick, one of the things you were very excited about was being able to play together and play off of each other. This is kind of the first game in Big Ten play where you really both played, up at a really high elite level. What was that experience like with both of you operating at that tier?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a fun experience. It's always good to get a win. Me and Nick have a really good bond. I mean, I see how he works. He works his tail off. So, I mean, it was good to be able to go out there and get a win.
To the back.
Angelo, big game, 20 points. Those breakaway dunks, right, when you just get out there, get the slam, big reaction from the crowd. What does it feel like on those plays?
I mean, it feels awesome, to dunk 2 points, but kind of gets everyone going a little bit. So, I mean, if that's what's going to push us to play harder, get more stops, get more rebounds, I'm fine with doing that every time for my team, so.
To the middle.
Angelo, Coach talked a bit about the team's three-point performance tonight. How did it feel to have your three-pointer be the last shot in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it felt really good. We all put in so much work for just getting them up every day. Like, kind of, we've been shooting them a lot more in practice, working off each other. So, I mean, just being in the right spot at the right time right there. I know my point guard is gonna give me that ball, so just gotta trust I'm gonna make it. And I put the work in, so I'm gonna trust I'm gonna make it. And I know anyone else, if they're in the same position, I trust they're gonna make that. So yeah.
Sponge?
For either one of you, Coach Collins mentioned how Nick Martinelli's been a real leader for the whole team, kind of amid a slow start to Big Ten play. Just how have you guys seen that be the case in the locker room and in practices?
Yeah, Nick does a great job leading us vocally and just through his actions. He's a really good guy, and I mean, nobody's perfect, but he's pretty close to it. So just trying to follow in his footsteps. Taking everything he gives us and just applying it.
Angelo, you mentioned that the coaches wanted you guys to be off your phones more. Is there any kind of specific team building activity you've done in the meantime, or instead did they say something you guys should be doing, or just put the phone down and figure it out?
I mean, it's kind of just team dinner. So sometimes get your head in your phone, you're not gonna be able to talk to your guys. So I mean, it's been honestly hilarious. Just being able to talk to my teammates more and just goof around at team dinners, because they could sometimes be a little more serious the day before a game. But, yeah, putting our phones down, being able to talk to each other more, it's helping. So I love it, yeah.
Yeah, the defense kind of seemed like tightened screws, particularly in the second half. Just talk a bit about maybe your improvement on that side of the ball this season and tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we work so hard every day in practice, so at some point it's got to click, So, I mean, just constant repetition, and our coaches are going to stay on us throughout the whole season. They're never going to give up on us, and we're never going to give up on them. So we're just going to keep playing as hard as we can, and got to just keep executing every time we go out there, and just keep playing hard in practice, keep executing. Yeah.
Time for a couple more, Jake.
Trey, you guys have 3 freshmen, 1 sophomore in the starting lineup. I mean, how have you guys both leaned on Nick as that experienced veteran, but also seen yourselves just mature with each passing game in the Big Ten?
Yeah, we're 21, 22 games in now, so the whole freshman title kind of goes out the window. We have a lot of young guys, but we're getting experience, and so we just go out there, like I said, just trying to follow in Nick's footsteps and just execute and play.
Any more questions for these guys? Okay, now wrap us up. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.